man was in orbit around the Earth, he would be sent back to Earth, and he would grow up, but his mind would be, as he grew up, would be so gauged as to receive the first emissaries from the super civilization. It was pure fantasy, but fascinating.
That really helped, thanks.
Did that help any?
So I have a technical question. Is it true that the first model, the first idea for the Discovery would be there was an Orion-type spaceship with nuclear bombs going out the back?
The shape we worked on, first of all, let me tell you what my job was. We're working in New York for about 6 months. And I grew up in this field, but I didn't know a hell of a lot of things about what it might be like, 35 years in the future. And so I went to all my colleagues that I had in many of the NASA stations and the academics and industry and so forth. And it's all in this book they're selling out here, 2001, The Lost Science. And I went to General Electric in that particular case. They had this Cavernine system they were working on, gaseous nuclear core propulsion, and they gave me all the designs of their future project, what it might look like in the future in that particular case. And we accepted that as a propulsion system. Now, in all of these cases, for everything you store there, every panel, every button, every visual display, Kubrick insisted that it be realistic because he didn't know where he was going to poke his camera. So when I went out, for example, to the Schlumberger fields, we have a geophysical module on the ship. This is the kind of presentation I should make with visuals, but that would take too long. And so everything in there, it wasn't necessarily what I would know, but we had them do it. They were a top geophysical survey company. In the hibernation, we hibernated 3 astronauts. They were not named in the film, but we nicknamed them Hunter, Kaminsky, and Whitehead. So for anybody, that's a little thing, but that's what we call the nicknames of them. So I had to deal in California, here in California, but mainly in New York, fortunately for us, because I was working there, with Dr. Owen Mitchell. And he was an expert in hibernation at the New York University School of Medicine. And he invited me over to his office. He opened his fridge one time and showed me all these little animals that were normal hibernators, but he put them in hibernation out of season. He knew how to do that. He could put hibernators in hibernation whenever he wanted. And he could put species close to them that were not normal hibernators, but he could put them in hibernation. And I asked him, NASA had a multi-million-dollar contract for you, and we were going to send a real ship to Jupiter. Could you do it? He said, probably so. It would be very exhaustive. But I said, well, if you did it, then could you give me the technical? What would the displays say? What physical elements could you be monitoring all the way out to Jupiter? And they did that. And so that was how I dealt with all these companies. I went to RCA for help in the Whirlpool company in Benton Harbor for the kitchens you see there, how we did that. And this is a visual. Going all that, I should have a visuals with me. And we set out of the Tycho magnetic anomaly, for example, with the Sentinel, we originally called it the platform, the monument. And all the instrumentation around that was all done by RCA, for example. And they were all totally realistic, but their projection 35 years in the future, what that instrumentation might be to analyze this very strange extra solar. So in all these elements, I would go to the companies. I went to the Royal Astronomical Observatory, for example, in Greenwich, for the panel for the astronomical investigation. So the panel you see there is all very, very accurate by the experts. And that's how I handle this.
Well, thank you.
Quite welcome. Okay.
All right, thank you very much. It's a little glimpse into another world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very, very much.
As you can see, I'm not Ursula Le Guin, the famous science fiction writer, but I am fortunate to be able to read a statement to you As you know, she is being given the Arthur C. Clarke Award for Imagination in the Service of Society. And she sent us a statement, and I'm pleased to be able to read it to you. And then we have a short piece that summarizes her work and tells you more about who she is and what she's done in her life, which is quite remarkable. And she has some good things to say about Arthur Clarke himself, which we're pleased to read here tonight. It says, Arthur Clarke was one of a trio of writers known in science fiction as the Big Three. I never wrote fiction as a disciple or even an admirer of the other two, Robert Heinlein or Isaac Asimov. In fact, my attitude towards them was thoroughly subversive. But Clarke was different. He was literary in the quality of his fiction, liberal in his politics, global in his interests, and generous in his moral outlook. I was glad to regard him as the big one. When his film 2001 came out, it changed minds and it changed the way we saw the universe. I am sure his tireless support of space travel had a great influence on the governments of the United States and Russia. Arthur Clarke was an eloquent, honest, and passionate visionary. And the foundation named for him maintains his vision in its efforts to integrate science and literature, to deepen the public understanding of science, and to support creative thinking about social solutions to problems in developing countries. I'm sorry I can't be there with you, but I want you to know that the literary and scientific stature of its namesake and the goals of the Arthur C. Clarke Foundation make it a true honor to me to be given this award. Thank you very much. And now we'd like to segue just real quickly. When we learned that Ursula was unable to travel to Washington, nor were the logistics suitable to send us a video, Shelley Strebe, the director of the Clarion Science Fiction Workshop at UCSD, offered to collaborate with Sheldon Brown and his team to prepare this tribute to Ursula. So please roll the video.
Hello from the University of California, San Diego. My name is Shelley Strebe, and I'm the director of the Clarion Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Workshop at UCSD, the home of the Arthur C. Clarke Center for Human Imagination. Here at Clarion, the writings of Arthur C. Clarke and Ursula K. Le Guin are central to what Clarion does so well, helping to inspire and support the next generation of great science fiction writers. All of the aspiring writers at Clarion Summer Workshop believe in the activation of imagination through the sharing of words, as Le Guin puts it. So I am delighted to hear that the Arthur C. Clarke Foundation is honoring Ursula K. Le Guin with its Impact of Imagination on Society Award. Le Guin's bracing, brainy body of work, which spans more than 5 decades, is certainly richly deserving of such an award. Le Guin once said that literature is the operating instructions to the imagination, which she calls the single most useful tool humankind possesses. It beats the opposable thumb. Her prolific imagination is evident in the multiple forms of literature she writes, as well as in the heterogeneity of the alternate worlds and futures that she imagines. Le Guin is perhaps most famous for the Hainish cycle novels, in